What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Dave Whitson. And today we're going to be talking about kind of a topic you and I started to talk about recently, and it's discomfort versus pain,
Mhm.
and kind of talking to members specifically on discomfort versus pain, or soreness versus pain, and kind of like getting into
What's
the
the
difference
difference?
between the two. Yeah. So why don't we kind of dive in and start getting into maybe some of the conversations you've had with people in the past?
Well, my experience is most people fall into on the outskirts of the range that you could be in understanding this stuff.
Okay.
So either quote unquote pain is weakness leaving the body. I know Under Armour and Nike told you that, but it's your body telling you something's wrong.
Right.
And then the flip side of that is anytime I'm uncomfortable, it's pain, so I must stop. Instead of being kind of where reality is, which is like you cannot adapt. Your body will not change. You have zero physical adaptation if you don't hit discomfort.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you're in pain, eventually you're going to have to stop doing what you're doing.
Right.
It's going to catch up at some point, and there's a difference between the two. So sometimes what we think is just is pain is actually discomfort, and sometimes what we think is just part of working out is actually pain in your body telling you something's wrong.
Yeah.
And so discomfort is necessary. Soreness, being high heart rate, wherever it is, whether it's mental or physical, you need discomfort to kind of move forward or to achieve a goal. Medical school is not comfortable. It's not comfortable
I wouldn't know.
in any way, shape, or form. It's just not,
Yeah.
right? Asking a girl out, not comfortable.
Right.
It's just not. It
Right.
isn't, right? It isn't. Buying a house,
Not comfortable.
not comfortable, right?
Right.
So discomfort is necessary in every area of life. And so discomfort is, it might be lifting a weight you haven't lifted before. It might be challenging yourself to row a little bit harder. It might be that your legs are sore, right? Your upper body's sore. Maybe, a mental stop point you kind of get through. And for us in our gyms, it might be listening to your coach to push a little bit more than you necessarily want to. The flip side of that is pain. So there's kind of a continuum from irritation to injury. You need irritation or discomfort. Irritation, not a big deal. But once you get to pain, where you start thinking about whether or not you should be doing something, and then injury is you're not able to do it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we understand what those things are, right? Discomfort, good. Pain, it's a warning light on your dashboard of your car. It's not blinking yet, it's solid. Blinking is you're in trouble.
Right.
Yeah, right. So not only do not most people no, most people don't understand this. I think sometimes as coaches and trainers, we assume that they do
Right.
because we're in this world. And so we all have this weird point of view of assumed knowledge of others. We talk about it when it comes to like managing staff.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain stuff that you went through that you have an education base for that you figured out because you lived through it, that you don't understand why other people can't just self-regulate and figure it out,
Right.
where it's just not reality,
Right.
right? If you're a coach and you're a really good athlete in general, it's hard to connect with the person that's never been an athlete.
Yeah. They're like, just do it.
You're like, what do you mean? We're just
Just
squatting.
do what?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Right? And so it's important to understand the difference. I think also people are okay with soreness or discomfort like in their quads. Fine. Oh, chest. Oh yeah, did so many dips. Spinal erectors, muscle soreness.
Yeah. I broke my back.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
I went to the chiropractor. They said not to do anything for 2 weeks. Why? Well, I have pain on my back. What do you mean by pain?
Right.
Are your muscles sore? Is it like sore to the touch? Or are you questioning whether or not you can pick up that book off the floor?
Right.
Because there's a difference. I've had pain in my back. I herniated 3 discs because I got hit from behind. That pain was very, very different than muscle soreness from doing deadlifts, wherever it has to be.
Yeah. And it's tough because I think the conversation is hard because of what you said right there. It's like most people have not, most people going to engage in fitness have not pushed their body in a way that has allowed them to be like, this is what it's like to hurt, and this is what it's like to be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Right. Like 2 quick things. One was, I saw you know who talks about this, or at least they did talk about it a lot, was Ben Bergeron.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, he's a really big mental guy,
I know.
and, like, he would
Sometimes too much now, stop
yeah,
for me.
but,
Like,
like, he used to say, like, "You're not dying, you're just uncomfortable."
comfortable. Yeah.
Or, the guy who used why am I blanking on his name? James Fitzgerald used
Yep.
to, run OPEX. He used to have the saying, "Get comfortable being uncomfortable."
First CrossFit Games champ, OPT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super smart guy.
Yeah, too smart for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also made because he's really smart, but what turns me off is he got to the point where it's like, he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room
Oh,
and
yeah.
lets everyone know, like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And it's like, I do, like, maybe I don't have X, Y, or Z
Yeah.
education like you, and that's why I'm here to learn, but you don't gotta be a jerk, but
He might actually be the smartest person in the room, but he doesn't communicate it well.
no, no.
So you have to get over, like, you kinda feel like an idiot.
Yes, but
Like,
he, like
sometimes.
yeah, I'm not gonna get into that,
Yeah.
but, like, they all have said things like that, and it's very true to what you said. But for me, it's like I've never had a major injury, knock on wood. Um, but I know for me, I find, and we could get into the weeds now as you
Mhm.
kind of dive, and I'll let you talk more. But for me, a big determiner of discomfort versus pain is I feel like once you start to disseminate out of soft tissue, so you're like your lungs and your
Yeah,
muscles, and get into joints,
it changes.
that's where
Yeah.
things start to change, I think.
Yeah, so itis and osis, like, how much tendon pain,
Yeah.
right? Trying to think the best way to put this. If you have patellar tendon pain, so below the kneecap,
Yep.
and it feels better as you warm up, we're good. We just have to make sure we do stuff at a tempo. We don't want to do a bunch of dynamic stuff. We want to be careful with it,
Yeah.
right? But if you feel better while you warm up, we're good. If it doesn't change or you feel worse as you warm up, that's actual tissue damage,
Yeah.
right? So this is where the whole pain is weakness leaving the body thing is not good, right? Because people think like, oh, it's like I just squat a lot. And it's like, well,
No.
no, like there are going to be times where you're sore for a few days, muscle soreness, joint pain, tennis elbow, all the different elbow things, even though you don't play those sports, golf elbow, whatever it
Yeah.
is, right? All the itis osis stuff is where you can't just pretend like it's not there.
Right.
Or let me throw on knee sleeves.
To hold my knees together.
Or like, it just makes them warm so it feels better.
Yeah.
Or like at the bottom of the wall ball now when it's a dynamic bounce, I'm okay because there's more pressure. It's like, well, we want to this is the difference between one of my pet peeves with
Okay.
people is like, I wear a belt. I don't wear a belt. I see people wearing a belt all the time for everything.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, you're training for the movement, not for like outside the gym stuff.
Right.
But even the people that are training the movement in their sport of like powerlifting or stuff don't wear a belt all the time. And so
Like
it's like, I need to wear these knee sleeves. I need to wear these wrist wraps. I need to wear this elbow sleeve. I have the tendonitis band across here.
yeah.
And it's like, well, let's work on that because you have the rest of your life we got to worry about.
Where does the conversation start when you need to start to sift through, is this pain or discomfort?
Ideal world, I have that conversation before they ever work out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something I want to work on is getting that education piece out. And then it's a reminder the rest of the time.
Right.
It's a reminder. And it's the coach noticing like, okay, that person kind of has no like the my back's tight position where you see people do like the weird stretches
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
making the
yeah.
face or they're rubbing the knee.
Yeah.
It's noticing those things and not being scared to have a conversation with the client.
Sure.
Just attacking it head on. Hey, I noticed you rub your knee. How's it feel? Well, it feels like this. Okay, did it feel better or worse during the workout? Did it happen afterwards? And then kind of getting down to you have two avenues. Either you can suggest things that are going to help it feel better.
Mhm.
Sometimes people are very receptive to that. A lot of times they're not. I'll give an example of it. And then, or it's this is what we can do to make sure to work around it. So with the inflammation and kind of the hot spot of it, your body freaking out over something wrong can kind of come down a little bit because
Sure.
that's part of it too.
Yeah.
It's like just your body will let you know something's wrong. And you can either let that sensory overload drop down or you can start working on it. And the truth is, working on it will also, your body's going to notice that something's going on. If you've never done physical therapy before, it's not easy when you really do it.
It honestly, like, sucks really bad.
It's pretty rough. And
Yeah.
then it's uncomfortable and it kind of hurts a little bit almost like it's on the fringe of hurting. I'll give you another example of where n- not wanting discomfort, but the easy win actually leads to pain.
Okay.
Kipping.
Yeah. without having the ability to do strict.
It looks cool. And people don't want the discomfort of going to the standard of having certain strict strength. They'd rather hijack the process. And now I've slung my chin over the bar in an awful position, and I just lowered up my shoulder with stuff that I can't handle. But I feel good that I did a kipping pull
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
And now I'm embarrassed, and I'm not going to tell my coach that my shoulder does hurt until it's too bad where I need surgery. So, like, that's where the coolness of doing the kipping pull up, people don't go the hard route of working on strict so they can have that skill forever.
Yeah, so kind of what I hear you saying is like, okay, so if we were to look at, um, so right now we're talking about pain, right?
Pain, yeah.
So if we're on the pain side of things, something Joe used to say in consultations when people would come in and be like, I heard CrossFit gets you hurt. He used to say, there's two things at play when people get hurt in CrossFit. And if
Mhm.
both people do their jobs, then it won't happen. Part of it's my job as the coach to make sure you're moving correctly and you're staying within what you're able to do.
Yep.
And part of it is your job to tell me when you got something
Something
going
going on.
on. And if we both do those things, you're going to be fine. But if
Yeah.
one of those people drop the ball, then there's a chance you could get hurt. And I
Yeah.
always thought that was really insightful to be able
It's
to
a good way
say
of
that.
putting it, yeah.
But is from the coach's perspective is A, have the conversation up front. So if I have someone new,
Let them know.
especially like, and this might be like a little stereotypical, but sometimes you can tell when someone's new to fitness. I hate to
Yes.
say that,
Coordination.
but it's like
understanding,
someone walks into the gym and goes in for their first class. It's like, okay, you've never done this before, right? No
It's
matter,
obvious.
you don't even got to tell me. Like, I
Yeah.
know you've never done this before. So let's have a conversation. So first thing is if you're a coach or a general manager, instructor, anywhere, not even at our gyms, just anywhere, is have the conversation up front, discomfort versus pain. Hey, set expectations. You might feel this. You might
Yeah.
feel this. This is how to remedy it. You're okay. You're
Yeah.
not. If you feel this, that is where things will be a
Yeah.
problem. So that's the first
It's
thing.
like, hey, 2 days later, you're gonna feel worse. Just give you a heads up.
Yeah. Like, hey, we're gonna squat, and don't panic when you can't get off the toilet. Like,
In fact, you should come in 2 days later to help
Yes.
work this through.
Exactly. So have the conversation up front. Secondly is be observant. And so if you do see members, or not just observant with your eyes, but also your ears,
Yeah.
because members will say things. They won't come out and say like, hey, I really hurt my knee the other day. They might say things like, man, old age is getting me with this knee, or
Yeah, it's
something
just
like
part of
that.
Getting older.
Yeah. And it's like, well, wait a second. When did that start? Because
Yeah.
I've known you for 2 years
Yep.
and I've never heard you saying you had an issue with your knee.
Until it's almost not too late. It's just we're way further down the scale. than we need to
Exactly.
be.
So that's for me, the instructor side of things.
Yes.
For the member side of things, it's A, leaning on your instructors. So if you have
Yes.
something and you're unsure and you're new, say, I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
The instructor, if they're worth anything, will be able to sift through some of that.
Yes, to help you out with it. And here's like a weird 2 examples of where this kind of gets funny. Because okay, here I'm not going to say their name. This person squats, back squats, front squats, overhead squats, cleans, all the stuff, thruster, no knee pain. If we snatch, as in like actually going into the squat, knee pain. Only difference was his feet were never in the same spot when he did snatches compared to overhead
All the other
squats or anything
stuff.
else.
Yeah.
And so it was literally just drilling
Yeah.
where his feet should go, and the pain's gone. Baseball player, shoulder. Everyone in the world looked at his shoulder. He's a pitcher. There's no issue in his shoulder. Does he have a torn labrum? Nothing, but his shoulders always bother him. When you pitch, you lean over your hip. So you need to have good clearance of hip flexion. He didn't have it. So it put his upper body in a weird angle and would cause shoulder pain.
Right.
So we worked on his hip and his shoulder pain went away. And so the ability to look at, well, my left knee hurts when I squat. Well, your right ankle's so tight, so you're offloading all your weight to your left side. So your left side's doing way too much work.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. It happens more than we realize, but it's also, as a coach, you have to learn how to see these
I was
things.
just about to say that.
You
Yeah.
have to learn how to see it. And once you see it, you're able to pick it up in different things.
Yep.
And then you're able to help clients at a better level. And then it builds trust with the clients to share more with you.
Yep.
So we don't get to that injury phase.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then the other thing as a client is like, because I hate to say it, I know you've probably seen it when at your last gym, probably less the longer you were in business because you became more confident to just tell certain people this might not be for you.
Yeah.
Is the people that you tell to scale till you're blue in the face and they just
don't want
don't.
to.
And
Yeah.
it's because they can physically, at this point in time, noon on a Tuesday, they can do the movement, but they don't understand that, like, yes, you can do this now, and maybe you don't have any consistent pain now, but I can see the future because I'm watching you move.
I know what's gonna
I
happen.
know what's gonna happen. And so
Yeah.
the other part is, with, if you're a member and you're feeling some pain, it's being able to say, "Okay, I have to reassess something here. I gotta take a step back, and I have to be okay doing 135 instead of 225 because I have something I'm dealing with right now."
Yeah, and it's the coaches need to be able to communicate how to be that they're an advocate for the client's future self,
Mhm.
and then how to walk the client through that kinda ego trip of today doesn't matter in the way you think it does with this weight.
Yeah.
Like, you are not less of a person, you are not weak, you are not going backwards because of this. You're just gonna delay your ability to move forward later on. That's
And
all
it's
you're gonna do.
and it's tough, but you have to be able to have the conversation of like, "Okay, I understand that this stinks. What is your goal?" "Oh, well,
Yeah,
my goal is X." "I know. So doing 135 at this weight instead of 225, do you think that gets you further or closer to your goal?"
it's usually
"Well,
closer, yeah.
yeah, I guess that would help me to get closer." "Right. And you can lift 225.
Mhm.
So does you doing 135 all of a sudden make you weak?"
No.
"No, I guess you're right. That doesn't make me weak." And now we've worked through it, but it takes time and it takes effort on the coach
Yeah,
to be able to ask those questions, to go down the path, to be like, "This is pain, don't do something." Or on the other end of the spectrum,
yeah.
like, "Okay, well, let's talk about what you have going on. Okay, does this happen? Does that happen? All right. Are you sure that's pain, or are
This
you
is
just in some discomfort because you're
yeah.
doing something you've never done before?"
You're doing something you've never done before, and then what we have to watch out for is you're not seeing results because 'cause you're not going past your
Right.
fear phase of the 15-pound training bar with 10-pound plates made me sore, so I stay there and I never move on because I don't feel so bad after workouts. But now you're not even in the discomfort phase, you're not gonna get the goals that you want.
Yeah.
And it's kinda what's weird is both ends of that spectrum lead to people stopping working out.
Right.
I worked out and I got hurt, or I worked out and I saw no results, and it's both a misunderstanding of pain and discomfort.
Yeah, it's also weird, and this is an aside, and I'll circle back, is I also always found it was weird too that, like, people felt that way about working out, but, like, you don't hear people say that, at least in my experience, of, like, the weekend warrior pickup basketball player. It's like the guy tears his MCL playing basketball because he's completely out of shape,
Shape, yeah.
but what does he do? He gets MCL surgery and comes right
Right
back
back
to
to
playing basketball,
right
and
now,
it's
pickleball is like one of the most
right.
dangerous things there is on the
Right,
planet.
and
Yeah.
they're like, "Ah, it's just old age," but it's like, no, but at the same time, with fitness, when someone makes a mistake and maybe,
Yeah.
they need to take some time off, instead of coming back with a new set of eyes and a smarter
No,
approach,
yeah,
they're just like, "I can't do this anymore."
yeah. Nas and I both played sports. All my injuries were from sports,
Right.
and it's not like I stopped playing the sport. I broke my whole shin, my whole tibia. I
The
still
whole shin was gone,
it
JJ.
was bad. It was I wanna find the X-ray because it's absurd. I was playing hockey the next year, despite my mom's tears. I was still playing hockey the next year.
"Please, David,
My
no
baby.
more."
Don't yeah, well, she'd be like, "Don't come home if you get hurt." Spinal fracture. But
Yeah,
yeah, again, it's a weird mindset thing, and I think we just have to face the reality of we need to be on it more, and we need to get ahead of it more than what we think.
for sure. Anything that we missed that you're like, "I definitely wanna touch on this before we hop off the mics?"
Just that for those people that are members at Station Athletic gyms, we are rolling out stuff to help with it.
Yeah.
Where because one of the reasons why people don't communicate that they're in pain is that they're scared they're gonna have to stop doing something.
Mm,
And so we're launching things where you can keep doing what you're doing, but with the help of the coach more
mhm.
until you're out of pain or we've taken care of stuff enough that you're good. So and just we're testing it at Roseland and then we'll roll it out after there.
Yeah, and I would also, to piggyback off of that, like, encourage you guys, if you are a member and you're listening, please leverage your general managers.
Yeah,
Talk
talk to
to
them.
them. That's like the major part of their job, right? Or your coaches. Like, I can't tell you how many times someone has gone to a general manager at one of their gyms. "I have to go on hold because I have X, Y, or Z injury." And they're like, because they come to a class the GM doesn't coach.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, did you tell so and so about it?" "No, I haven't told anyone."
Yeah.
And it's like, "Well, we could have helped you months ago with that."
Yeah.
So,
Just be honest.
yes, we're trying to roll out different programs and different things to protect people from themselves. And
Yeah.
while we perfect those things and while we work and nuance and critique those things, please, please, please talk to your coach, talk to your instructor, talk to your general manager so we can make sure you guys can maximize what you're doing in the gym and you
Yeah.
don't have to take all this time off.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're all in the gym for a reason, so we wanna keep you there.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
listen, guys, thanks for listening. As always, like and subscribe to us on YouTube or Instagram. Give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform you listen on. We see you at the gym.